I'm Christine. I'm here to talk a little bit about modern training, what that is to me, why I think that's actually the best route to take, and why I choose that over anything else, considering there are many training methodologies out there. It's really important to me to think about why most people are actually pursuing training. Most people would like a happy, healthy family pet, and they really don't want an unsafe dog, a difficult dog who's going to be a burden on their life. To be quite honest, they just want to be a pet owner with a dog who actually enriches their life that they can enjoy their time with. Usually minimal effort. I think it's a reasonable goal for people. It's very important then that this pet dog be able to be trained in such a way that it is actually safe to do so. For your children to employ these training tactics, it's safe for grandma who watches the dog twice a week while you're at work, the dog walker who's coming in unannounced to your home, the pet sitter who's coming in when you're away, safe for the groomer, for the vet, for the stranger walking down the street who you stop and interact with, friends and family coming to stay with you. So we really want to make sure that the training we're doing is accessible for everyone, something that can be done consistently across the board, that everyone's going to want to do and enjoy with the dog. We want to be sure that, first of all, we're even thinking of it correctly. A lot of people do think that training is going to be this very huge endeavor, and frankly, sometimes that's correct, especially if we're looking more at behavior modification than actual training. Training is teaching of new skills, teaching of life skills. Behavior modification is changing existing unwanted behavior, unsafe, unpleasant behavior. Training should be, frankly, a doable, easy addition to our life when we're looking at just general pet skills. I do tend to think of it less as setting aside a lot of time to work on a laundry list of skills every day that must be proofed to perfection. I have a saying I just said in my class this week. I didn't make it up, I wish I did. Perfection is actually the enemy of progress. We really want to be sure that we're not letting our goals get in the way of our goals. We want to be looking for little bits of progress every day. Very simple thing to do is think about how short training should be. Ideal training session is not as long as you might think. We used to believe that 15 to 30 minutes was about ideal, and then it got shrunken down a little bit from that. You heard 5 to 10, and now thanks to our ability to actually MRI dogs' brains, we do know that 3 to 5 minutes is more than enough for an adult dog acquiring a new skill. Now, puppies might be even shorter, 30 seconds before we lose their attention, right? This is a little different than if we're rehearsing things we already know well. Picture actually learning a new math technique in class versus doing basic addition that you learned back in preschool. We want to think of it in the appropriate way, and really, when we're acquiring new skills, short and sweet is best. 3 to 5 minutes is easy to pepper into your day. I also actually usually train that way. One of the tenets of modern training is that your dog is always learning, whether or not you're in an official training session. Trainer secret, I don't often plan a lot of training sessions. If there's something that I specifically have to work on, such as nail trims, that's something where I might specifically set time aside, or a complex skill, but basic life skills, manners, living with my dog, the things I want them to learn that we do, I simply do them throughout the day. I allow more time into all of my interactions. So usually then have an easy time peppering in these 3 to 5 minute bursts of practice, because I just take the opportunities as they're presented to me. A good time to work on weight might be before you exit the door. Sure, it adds a little bit of time there, but in the long run, that's getting you in quite a lot of practice, and your dog is going ahead and rehearsing the right skills from the start. Another good tactic that a lot of trainers use is looking for behavior to reinforce instead of looking for behavior to correct. We do know, thanks to, again, quite a lot of research, that using aversive methods, coercion, using unpleasant techniques are actually associated with higher levels of stress and anxiety, higher rates of aggression, and unsafe situations more frequently for the owners. So instead of looking out for all the ways to point out our dogs getting things wrong, just throughout the day, take the opportunity to point out things that they're getting right. Instead of looking out for all the ways to point out our dogs getting things wrong, just throughout the day, take the opportunity to point out things that they're getting right. I often then get the question, what about treats? Aren't I bribing? This is actually an excellent way to make sure you're not doing that. If you are looking to see a behavior they're already doing that you already like, then whatever you present is going to be after that behavior. It will be a reward, it will not be a bribe. We also want to make sure that our timing and mechanical skills are correct. That's not to say that you can't bribe a dog, you most certainly can. You can become reliant on anything, including aversive techniques and tools, if you're not making sure that you are taking a slow and steady strategic learning path that your dog can succeed on. You will get stuck if you do not make sure that you are planning things out correctly and timing your reinforcers well, and that's something a professional, of course, can help you with. So I would caution you to be quite aware that the dog training industry is completely unregulated at this point. You might be surprised to hear that your hairdresser has more rules and regulations as to what they are required to know and be able to do in order to cut your hair versus someone who's working with large animals with teeth and claws. But it is true. So it is a little bit of a seller's market out there. Consumer and buyer beware. There are plenty of course, certifications, education paths people can take. It can get very overwhelming and confusing. But my favorite thing to do is look for continuing education, make sure that it's recent, look for certifications from an outside credentialing body, not from the person from which you learned the information, some type of standardization. Look for other people happy with the results. Ask questions, make sure you're comfortable. What if my dog gets it wrong? What if they get it right? Do I like the answers to those questions? What's the potential for fallout from those techniques? What's the potential benefits? Can the people answer these questions, or do you know? Most people don't think to ask. So everybody's going to have a lot of recommendations, myself included, as to what you should do. Success to me is a dog who can live in your life with you, who is a joy and not a burden, and who is a willing partner with you. My take on modern training is maintaining that enthusiasm, because with enthusiasm comes repetitions, and with repetitions comes progress. I'm always happy to continue this conversation if you have more questions. Thank you.
Who's a good boy?